You spent your whole life waiting for someone to choose you. But have you ever chosen yourself? Let me tell you something that no one dares to say. The first person you should fall in love with is you. Not someday, not when you're prettier, not when you're thinner, now. Because no one, and I mean no one, can love you like you can. Ladies, let's get one thing straight today. Self-love isn't selfish. It's essential. You're looking for someone to text you back? How about texting yourself some truth? You want someone to say, I love you? Say it in the mirror, loudly, without shame. Because that reflection, that's the realest lover you'll ever have. Be your first love. Because no one can love you like you can. Love isn't about completing you. It's about recognizing you were never incomplete. You are not a half waiting for a whole. You are not a half waiting for a whole. You're not a chapter in someone else's book. You are the entire damn story. You set the standard. Read that again. Because the truth is, no one in this world will treat you better than you treat yourself. People mirror your energy. If you respect yourself, they'll hesitate to disrespect you. But the moment you accept crumbs, you train them to believe that's all you're worth. You're not a clearance item, marked down because someone couldn't see your value. You are the limited edition, the masterpiece that only the discerning will recognize. You don't chase validation. You command presence. Think about this. Have you ever seen a queen begging to be loved? No. She walks into the room and the world adjusts to her energy. Why? Because she's already approved of herself. That's the standard. Let's get real. How many times have you waited for a text back? Reread your messages. I wondered if you said too much or too little. You know what that is? That's giving your power away. That's letting someone else set your emotional thermostat. And baby, your temperature should rise only for you. Not because someone else is playing hot and cold. You want consistency? Give it to yourself first. You want effort? Start showing up for yourself. You want loyalty? Be loyal to your own soul. Set the tone, set the pace, and set the boundary. Take a look at the women who walk with power. They're not rude. They're just clear. They know what they want and they won't apologize for it. You want to be that woman? Then stop tolerating half love, half effort, half conversations, and half-assed apologies. Your boundaries are not walls. They are gates. And you, my love, are the gatekeeper. You don't let just anyone in because not everyone deserves the privilege of experiencing your light. If they dim it, they disqualify themselves. That's the rule. Imagine you're at a restaurant. You order steak, but they bring you soup. Would you accept it just because you're hungry? No. You'd send it back and say, that's not what I ordered. So why do you accept emotional leftovers in life just because you're lonely? The way you dress, speak, carry yourself, even the way you laugh, people are watching. And whether you realize it or not, they're picking up signals. If you shrink, they'll assume they can box you in. But if you stand tall, shoulders back, voice steady, they'll either rise to meet your level or get uncomfortable and leave. Either way, you win. A woman who knows her worth doesn't flinch when someone exits her life. She doesn't chase. She doesn't beg. She simply adjusts her crown and continues walking. Because she knows If you can't meet my standard, you don't deserve my presence. Let's bring it to daily life. Your job. If your employer keeps giving you tasks way beyond your role but never promotes you, it's not their fault. It's because you haven't drawn the line. Your silence becomes your permission. Set the standard. In friendships too. If you're always the one initiating, planning, giving, checking in, stop. Step back and observe. You'll be shocked at how many relationships are built on your effort alone. Let them match your energy or exit your space. Not everyone gets to ride shotgun in your life. Some belong in the rearview mirror. Even at home, in your family, sometimes people expect you to dim yourself to make others comfortable. They want the version of you that's easy to manage, not the one that's bold and breaking cycles. But remember this, you weren't born to blend in with the noise. You were born to raise the frequency. So when you walk into a room, walk like you belong in it. When you speak, speak like your words are gold. When you love yourself, do it so fiercely that it makes others question why they ever settled for anything less in their own lives. You set the standard. Not just in love, in life. And the world will rise or fall to meet it. Mirror talk is magic. Not the fairy tale kind, not the kind where a talking mirror tells you you're the fairest of them all. This is real magic. Raw, unfiltered, unapologetic. This is a kind of magic that turns scars into stories and wounds into wisdom. Every morning, when you wake up and walk into that bathroom, you're not just seeing your face, you're seeing your truth. That person in the mirror, that's the only one who's been with you through everything. The sleepless nights, the silent tears, the quiet wins no one applauded, the moments you broke down and still showed up. And yet how often do you look at her and say, I'm proud of you. You scroll through your phone, double tap 1,000 faces. But when was the last time you looked at your own reflection and gave yourself a damn? Let's talk about a real moment. Imagine you're standing in front of the mirror before a big meeting or an interview or even a first date. Your mind starts whispering, what if I'm not good enough? That voice, that's not yours. That's a collection of every rejection, every insult, every doubt someone else handed you and you unknowingly accepted. Mirror talk is where you rewrite that voice. You look yourself in the eyes and say, I am enough. I've earned this space. I belong here. Because confidence isn't born in crowds. It's forged in silence, in moments when no one is watching and you choose to lift yourself up. In school, you're taught to raise your hand for permission. In life, mirror talk teaches you to raise your head without asking. Because your reflection isn't just a face, it's your best friend, your cheerleader, your biggest fan. If you can't hype yourself up, why expect others to? Picture this. A woman walks into a store. She tries on a dress and doesn't like how she looks in it. The sales associate says, it looks great. But she shakes her head and says, no, it doesn't feel like me. That's mirror magic. She's not dressing for validation. She's dressing to reflect how she sees herself, not how others want her to be. Think about how many people wake up every day feeling like imposters in their own lives because they haven't had an honest conversation with their reflection. Mirror talk is how you come home to yourself. It's standing there and saying, you've been through hell, but you're still standing. And I love you for that. There's a power in saying your name aloud and attaching strength to it. Say, I am to be small. And I'm not here to be small. I'm here to be seen, to be heard, to be felt. Your voice, echoed back from the mirror, becomes a declaration, not just to yourself, but to the world. Even in heartbreak, when he left, when she betrayed you, when life cracked you open, the mirror didn't walk away. It stayed. And when no one else clapped, the mirror waited for you to say, you did good today. That kind of validation, that's the realest applause. And don't confuse this with vanity. This isn't about taking selfies or flaunting perfection. This is about seeing the soul in your eyes and reminding her that she's worth fighting for. Mirror talk isn't about loving your image. It's about respecting your essence. Here's a daily life scenario. You're going to an event where you feel out of place. Everyone seems more successful, more stylish, more together. Before you leave the house, stand in front of the mirror and say, they may have more, but that's your edge. That's your power. And when you walk into that room, your energy will speak louder than your outfit ever could. The mirror doesn't lie, but it also doesn't judge. It waits. It listens. And when you decide to speak love into it, it reflects that love tenfold. Every affirmation, every whispered, I've got this, plants a seed, and one day you look in that same mirror and see not just survival, but radiance. Not just potential, but power. No one is coming to save you. And I know that sounds harsh. I know it sounds cold. But it's also the most liberating truth you will ever learn. You've been waiting. Waiting for a friend to notice your pain. Waiting for a partner to finally treat you the way you deserve. Waiting for that one lucky break. That one phone call, that one miracle moment that changes everything. But here's the real talk. You are the call. You are the break. You are the damn miracle. There is no knight in shining armor. There is no hero in a cape. No one is going to swoop in, heal your wounds, fix your chaos, and hand you the life of your dreams. That's not real life. That's a fantasy sold to keep you passive. And you, my love, were not born to be passive. You were born to set fire to your own sky. Every time you cry yourself to sleep, hoping someone will notice, will show up, will fight for you, it chips away at your power. Because what you're really saying is, I don't believe I can fight for myself. And that's a lie. You've already fought through things that would break others. You just forgot how powerful you are because you were trained to believe someone else would carry you through. But think about your daily life. You wake up tired, but still show up. You manage work, bills, pressure, expectations, and still breathe. Who do you think is holding you up? That's you. That strength, that's not borrowed. That's built, brick by brick, breakdown by breakdown. You became your own foundation. Imagine you're drowning and hoping someone throws you a rope. But what if you realized you had legs the whole time, that you could swim, that you didn't need saving, you needed reminding. That's what awakening is. That's what growth is. When you stop waiting for someone else to choose you and finally choose yourself. I get it. You want love, support, protection. We all do. But what happens when it doesn't come? What happens when they don't call back? when friends go silent, when the people who promise to never leave disappear. You either collapse or you rise. And rising starts when you stop asking, where are they? And start asking, where am I? Let me give you a real world example. A woman loses her job. She cries for days, waiting for her partner to reassure her, waiting for a friend to offer help, waiting for life to throw her a bone. But nothing happens. Until one day, she looks in the mirror and says, if no comes coming, then I will become the one I need. She opens her laptop, builds something, learns, applies again, gets rejected, applies again, and then breakthrough. Not because the world rescued her, but because she rescued herself. This is not about becoming hard or emotionless. It's about becoming aware. Aware that your survival, your healing, your evolution belongs to you. Your trauma is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. You don't have to know every step. You just have to take the first one. That first walk alone. That first time saying no. That first time putting your phone on silent to protect your peace. That first time saying, I'm not okay, not so someone can fix it, but so you can finally face it. There's a certain beauty in becoming your own hero, in realizing that the love you were craving from others was always yours to give. That the strength you admired in others was always inside you. The world will always try to distract you with fairy tales and finish lines. But the truth is, your freedom starts the moment you stop waiting and start becoming. You are not a damsel. You are the storm. You are not broken. You are becoming. And no one, not him, not her, not them, gets the credit for the life you're about to build. Self-love heals the unseen wounds. The ones nobody claps for, nobody asks about, and nobody even knows exist. The kind of pain that hides behind your smile, that makes your laugh sound just a little forced, that creeps into your mind when the lights go out and the world goes silent. It's not the wound on your skin that breaks you. It's the wound on your spirit, the one you carry alone because you don't want to burden anyone with your truth. You know what I'm talking about. The moment someone said you weren't enough and you believed them. The day someone left without a goodbye and you wondered if you were unlovable. The time you gave everything to someone who gave nothing in return and you blamed yourself. These are the wounds that don't bleed, they echo. They echo in your choices, your fears, your hesitations. And self-love isn't just a soft bath and a scented candle. No. Real self-love is surgery. It's going deep inside and stitching the parts of yourself that someone else carelessly tore. Imagine this. A woman walks into a room full of people, all laughing, socializing, looking perfect. But inside she feels small, invisible. Because when she was younger, someone she trusted told her she was too much, too loud, too dramatic. So she shrunk herself. She learned to sit quietly, to speak softly, to never demand space. Now she's sitting in her waiting, to just embrace herself. She could. She softened, to judge herself, to tell her parents she couldn't travel, to go to school, to wait for ports and let her never quit her narrative. That's an unseen wound. And it's eating her confidence day by day. But one morning, she looks at herself in the mirror and whispers, I am not too much. I'm just right for the life I'm meant to live. That sentence, short, quiet, said through tears, is self-love. And it begins the healing. You don't always realize how deep these wounds go. Sometimes it shows up in the relationships you accept, the way you apologize too quickly, the way you overgive to prove you're worthy. But self-love, it teaches you that you don't have to be chosen to be valuable. You are already whole, already enough, already divine. Think of the girl who constantly checks her phone, waiting for a reply that never comes. She rereads her texts, second guesses her tone, wonders if she was too clingy or too cold. But what if instead she turned that attention inward? What if she stopped asking, why didn't he reply, and started asking, why do I believe his silence defines my worth? That's the shift. That's where healing begins. Self-love is holding your own hand when anxiety hits at 2 a.m. and no one else is there. It's choosing to rest without guilt, choosing to speak up without fear, choosing to leave what doesn't grow you. It's refusing to be your own bully. Because for years, maybe you've said things to yourself that you wouldn't say to your worst enemy. That stops with self-love. A working mom walks into the house, exhausted, dishes piled up, kids screaming, her boss emailed her at 8 p.m. again. She's on the verge of collapsing. But instead of pushing through, she breathes. She sits. She lets herself be still. She tells herself, I am not a machine. I am a human being, and I deserve to rest. That's not weakness, that's recovery. That's choosing yourself in a world that profits off your burnout. You can't expect someone else to love away your pain. They can support you, sure. But healing, that's an inside job. That's looking at the younger version of you, the one who was hurt, abandoned, lied to, and saying, I've got you now. It's showing up for her every day, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. And here's the truth no one tells you. Self-love doesn't always feel good. A cried in truth is a scar fading. Every boundary set is a broken piece finding its place. Every time you say, no, I won't betray myself today, you heal. Quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. Alone doesn't mean unloved. This world has done a very clever job of convincing you that if you're not constantly surrounded by people, if your phone isn't blowing up with texts, if you don't have someone holding your hand or calling you babe, then something must be wrong with you. But that's a lie. A deeply rooted, toxic lie that makes you forget your worth the second silence surrounds you. Being alone is not a punishment. It's not proof that you're unworthy. It's not a red flag that you're broken or forgotten. In fact, sometimes being alone is the universe pulling you back so you can remember who you are. Because when you're surrounded by noise, opinions, expectations, validation, you forget how powerful your own voice is. And when that noise fades, you finally hear it again. Take the woman who walks into a coffee shop and sees couples holding hands, groups of friends laughing, people snapping selfies with filters and captions. She orders her coffee and sits by herself. And for a moment, she feels it, the sting of loneliness, that quiet ache. But then she opens her journal. She breathes in the smell of roasted beans and peace. She begins to write. Not for anyone else, just for her. That's not loneliness. That's presence. That's sacred. That's self-communion. There's a massive difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone is physical. Being lonely is emotional. And here's the plot twist. They don't always go together. You can be surrounded by people and feel hollow. You can have 100 contacts in your phone and still cry yourself to sleep. And you can be completely alone in your apartment, dancing in your pajamas to your favorite song, feeling more alive than you ever did in a crowded room. That's the paradox. Most people don't. Alone is where healing begins. Alone is where the clutter clears. Alone is where you stop pretending and start becoming. There's no one to perform for, no one to impress, just you and the mirror. He chooses solitude. He chooses to sit with the heartbreak, to understand why he accepted less than he deserved, to figure out what parts of himself still need love. That's not weakness, that's wisdom, that's evolution. Because when you can sit alone in the ruins of what hurt you and build something stronger, that's self-respect. Society glamorizes attachment, but it rarely celebrates solitude. And yet, the strongest people you'll ever meet, they've walked through silence. They've faced their shadows. They've gone nights without a call, weeks without validation, and still woke up every day choosing themselves. Because they know being alone is not the absence of love, it's the refinement of it. You have to understand something powerful. You weren't born to be constantly consumed. You weren't designed to be in a constant state of connection. Sometimes you need to disconnect from the world, from others, from all the noise, to reconnect with your soul. Because what good is being loved by the world if you're a stranger to yourself? A girl sits in a restaurant by herself on her birthday. No party, no crowd, just her. The waiter awkwardly asks, "Table for one?" And she smiles and says, "Yes, for the most important person in my life." That's not sadness. That's sovereignty. That's power. Because she's not waiting to be loved. Her own light, her own lane. Being alone teaches you that you are the source, not the seeker. You stop asking, "Why doesn't anyone love me?" and start declaring, "I am love in human form. And I'm no longer available for anything less than sacred." You don't need to be seen by everyone. You just need to see yourself. And when you do, really do, every moment alone becomes a love letter from the universe, reminding you that you are never, ever truly unloved. You are the main character, not the side note, not the background, not the extra in someone else's story. And the moment you realize that, truly deeply realize it, is the moment your entire life begins to shift. Because too many people are living like spectators in their own movie, apologizing for taking up space, editing their voice so it's more acceptable, shrinking their dreams so others don't feel insecure. But let me remind you, this is your screen, your stage, your script. And nobody else gets to write your story unless you hand them the pen. Think about how many times you've sat in the audience of someone else's life, cheering them on, helping them shine, watching them rise, while dimming your own light. You became the best supporting actress in a role you were never meant to play. And why? Because someone told you that confidence is arrogance, that wanting more is selfish. that taking the lead is too much. But here's a truth bomb. The world does not benefit from your invisibility. It doesn't grow when you play small. So step out. Take the damn spotlight. Because you were never meant to blend in. Picture a woman walking down the street, earbuds in, head held high. She's not rushing. She's not hiding. She's in her own world, her own energy. People turn to look, not because she's showing off, but because she's showing up. That's main character energy. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's rooted. It's the kind of presence that says, I know who I am. I know what I deserve. And I don't need your permission to shine. You know those movies where the main character goes through pain, betrayal, breakdowns, but comes back fiercer, wiser, untouchable? That can be you. But only if you stop seeing your struggles as the ending and start seeing them as the plot twist, the growth, the moment that changes everything. Because even in the toughest scenes of your life, the breakup, the job loss, the anxiety, the self-doubt, you were still the lead, still the one who got back up, still the one who turned the page. Remember the girl who used to whisper instead of speak, who sat in the back of the room because she didn't want to be too much? Now she walks into boardrooms and makes decisions that change futures. Why? Because one day she said, enough. I'm not waiting to be chosen. I'm choosing me. She stopped begging to be part of someone else's story and started building her own empire. And now, she's not the assistant, she's the author. Main characters don't ask for attention, they command it. Not because they scream the loudest, but because they are aligned with their purpose. Their presence is a declaration. Their silence is powerful. Their words are intentional. When they walk into a room, they don't wonder if they're liked. They know they belong. And so should you. A man stands on a rooftop at night, staring at the city. He just failed. Again. Lost money, lost friends, lost belief. But instead of letting that moment define him, he whispers, this isn't where my story ends. This is where it begins. That's the mindset shift. From victim to victor, from background to lead, from lost to legendary. You don't need a perfect past to be the main character. You need courage. You need clarity. You need to stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live out loud. Because no one's coming to rescue you with a spotlight. You have to become the light. You have to wake up and say, this life, it's mine. This body, it's mine. This chapter, I'm writing it. Even if your voice trembles. Even if your hands shake. Especially then. You are not a filler in someone else's highlight reel. You are the storm, the sunrise, the storyline that turns heads and touches hearts. So wear your scars like armor. Walk like the world is your runway. Speak like the universe bends to your words. You are the main character. And it's time the world reads your story like a bestseller. And now, as you stand in front of your own reflection, I want you to remember one thing. The greatest love story you'll ever live is the one you write with yourself. Not the one you begged someone to give you. Not the one that broke you and left. Not the fantasy you waited for, the real one. The one where you stop chasing people who don't see your worth and start chasing the woman in the mirror who's been waiting for you to choose her all along. Don't just fall in love with yourself. Fight for yourself. like your life depends on it. Because it does. The way you speak to yourself, the way you show up for yourself, the way you choose peace over chaos and standards over loneliness. That's the kind of love that turns broken girls into warriors and wounded women into queens. Say this out loud. I will not abandon myself for anyone who cannot handle the weight of my soul. That right there, that's power. That's freedom. You've waited long enough. Waited for someone to call you beautiful before you believed it. Waited for someone to pick you before you moved. Waited for someone to love you before you felt whole. But now, you're done waiting. You're done being almost loved, half chosen, sometimes prioritized. From this moment on, you are your own damn hero. You are the love of your life, the answer to your prayers, the main character who doesn't just survive the storm, she becomes it. Let me tell you something the world won't. You owe no one your silence. You owe no one your smallness. The next time they ask you to tone it down, smile and say, I wasn't born to be background noise. I'm the anthem. That's the kind of woman the world remembers. The one who didn't apologize for being electric, for being emotional, for being enough without needing to prove it. And yes, the world might call you too much. Let them. Too loud, too deep, too ambitious, too emotional, too intense. Good. Because the ocean was never meant to be shallow. The sky was never meant to be small. And you were never meant to be less than everything you were born to be. You don't rise because life was easy. You rise because you stopped giving up. You rise because pain became your teacher and silence became your strategy. You rise because you turned heartbreak into boundaries and rejection into redirection. You rise because you chose you, even when they didn't. And that, my love, is how legends are born. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be respected, to be remembered, to be felt. Walk into rooms like you were sent to rewrite history, because you were. You are the story the world didn't see coming, the plot twist, the chapter that changes everything. And the more you love yourself, the less you'll beg others to love you, because you'll realize you were always the prize. So wear your pain like stilettos. Walk with grace, even through fire. Because there is something wildly attractive about a woman who doesn't flinch in chaos, who doesn't settle in silence, who doesn't water herself down to be digestible. You don't need to be easy to love. You need to be real. And real love starts with you. When you wake up tomorrow, don't look at your phone. Look in the mirror and say, I am not waiting for someone to see my worth. I am living in it. Because at the end of the day, the most powerful thing you'll ever do is fall madly in love to become herself. And once you do that, you'll stop chasing love and start attracting it. You'll stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself. Remember this. Be the kind of woman who doesn't just light up the room. Be the one who burns down the doubt, silences the noise, and walks away glowing. Because, darling, you are not just the flame. You are the whole fire. Marda tolatian wan man man. Your truth lies in you. You are the fame. You are the truth lies in you. You are the truth. You are the fame. You are the fame.